Ulpa Chauhan is the Director of Genius Concepts at Beyond Bamboo, Global Facilitator at RoundTable Global, a 100 Ambassador, TEDx Speaker, and the founder of Travel Kind Connect. She's passionate about the travel industry and creating change to the tourist industry at a time when change is really needed. Through Beyond Bamboo, she's working with big players in tourism to help them understand the need for change, and she joins me today. Hi, Ulpa.
Hi, Tan. Wow, that was an introduction.
but an accurate one, right? So, yeah. Ulpa, let's get started. Firstly, as a colleague and my partner in crime, in most of the above, I know how much you do. How do you find time for everything?
Oh God, well, I think there's 4 P's, should I say. First of all, planning. You've got to plan your day, you've got to plan your week, and often even planning the month ahead, knowing what's going on. So that's really important. But 2 other key things are passion and purpose. I love what I do, and I think that's really important to drive you. And I get up in the morning and I'm like, I love what I do, and that's really important to keep you going and to really sort of enjoy your work. And I think that's so important. And the final P, I would say, is play. Enjoy it, have fun, take that time out for yourself too, because I think we so often forget to look after ourselves, and as much as I love what I do, I also love looking after myself too. So I think that's kind of my key things.
Yeah, and we definitely get the play in there as well, don't we, with the working hard. So that's really important, I know. And also, you're so passionate about travel, which must be so frustrating for you at the moment because we can't go anywhere. What initially led you to want to explore the world, and what have you learned by doing so?
Well, it was actually a very, very long time ago when I used to live with my parents, and we used to subscribe to Reader's Digest. So anybody old enough to know what that is will know what I'm talking about. And one of the purchases that my parents made was this huge atlas, which actually I still own, which I kind of took, should I say. And it was really, I'd sit there looking through it and going, oh, all these places, I really want to visit them, and one of my things that I wanted to be when I was a little girl was always wanted to be an air hostess. So, couple those 2 things together was my drive and love for travel. And so I did actually start out in the travel industry. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've worked for an airline. I've worked in tourism, hospitality, so sort of covering all sorts of areas on the education side as well as the training side. And that's kind of where my background grew. But I just love traveling. And I've always said, and everyone's seen those quotes out there, that the world really is a classroom. What you can learn when you're traveling, you cannot learn in a classroom. I could sit there with somebody and tell them about the pyramids in Egypt, but you go there and you see them and you learn about it and you hear it from a local. That's what I love. I love interacting with the different people. I love, seeing the amazing things around the world. But I have to say, tops has got to be the people that you meet, the people that you see, the things you learn from other cultures and other people is just, you couldn't get that anywhere else, really.
Yeah, that's so true. And, just thinking about it in terms of all of your senses, when you go to a place, it's not just a case of learning about the place, but experiencing the richness of the culture, the smells, the taste, the heat on your skin and all of that stuff. So yeah, you can't get that in a classroom at all, can you? It's just not the same. So with both Travel Kind Connect and Beyond Bamboo, you're working to make the travel industry a beyond sustainable industry now, really changing things up. Why do you think that this is so important?
Well, I think we've all known for a long time that the travel and hospitality industry has been known to be quite a wasteful industry for a long time. So I think change isn't just new in the industry. It's been happening for a long time. And there have been some real big champions out there, really pushing forward with making sure that the industry can be as sustainable as it can be. I think there's also a misconception, that flying around the world is the worst thing towards carbon emissions that you can do. But actually, one of the biggest things that any human can do to reduce their carbon emissions is actually to reduce their consumption of meat. And I think people don't realize that. So, it's understanding and balancing that out. There's some great books out there that can help you sort of understand how much carbon emission there is in everything that we do, from sending a text message to making a phone call to buying a loaf of bread and milk and those sorts of simple things. But it's understanding about how you as an individual can make that difference. And so in terms of the travel and tourism industry, it's knowing that what you gain from traveling and that information and culture and everything far exceeds, what I know that there are carbon emissions from traveling, but it far exceeds that, because knowledge is power. But what you can do to counteract that is how can you now help those cultures? And that's what Travel Kind Connect's about. It's also what we do with Beyond Bamboo. It's like, okay, we do want people to travel because it's so important, but how can we minimize those carbon emissions? How can we make it more sustainable for us to travel? There are so many hotels now out there already doing so much towards being as sustainable as they can be. We know that the Green Claims Code here in the UK has meant that organisations will have to start to make a difference and start to show that they are doing what they say they're doing. And that's where Beyond Bamboo comes in, because for us it's important to guide and help those organisations, because it can be overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming when you're trying to start out and make that change. It's like, well, where do we even start? What do I do? What's the first thing that I do? And we always say that, it's not about having a billion or one person being zero waste. It's about having a billion people doing one thing. And if we can get everybody doing at least something, even within that industry, we know that we can make a difference. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I know I'm reading the same book as you at the moment in terms of working out those carbon emissions and stuff. But it's so true, for a hotel industry, if they took one disposable thing out of the chain, the impact that would have on the planet is massive, especially if it was a larger hotel chain. And I know with Travel Kind Connect, just to give some background on that it's about people going away and traveling. So still going away and experiencing the world, but going away and giving back something and doing something good whilst they're there. And that's what will make the difference, is that if people realize that, like you say, it's not one person going, or one hotel going, right, everything's got to be green. We're going, where do we start? What can we do first? And how can we make a difference? Then I think that will really impact the planet in a very positive way, in terms of going beyond sustainable rather than to sustain. So, just the
story, actually, to give you a little short story about how sort of Travel Kind Connect started. We'd actually gone away on a family holiday. And I thought, it'd already been in my mind. I'd been in the industry for quite a while. And I was like, well, what can we do to give back here? We've come to this beautiful little place in Portugal, Praia de Verde. And we were like, right, okay, what? There must be something around here. And actually the I think he was a concierge guy at the hotel, happened to find us this nature reserve, literally a 5-minute drive away. And we went there to help plant seeds. And, it was being run by this elderly couple who were just so overwhelmed, they didn't know where to start. And so we went and helped, and the kids absolutely loved it. And the nature reserve, the elderly couple were like, oh my God, this is something we can offer out now. It's something that we can ask for help on, because it's going to help us to do a better job. And they were actually planting trees to help with the replanting around Portugal after the fires had happened. So, that was kind of where that began. And, it doesn't have to be anything huge. It can just be litter picking on a beach. It can be, anything that you can do together as a family, or even if you're traveling alone, just that little bit of giving back means that you're contributing to that community that's there. So, yeah.
Yeah, really interesting, because I was having a conversation with somebody that we both know, Awareness Ties, Ali, actually yesterday, and we were talking about people helping one another. And we were saying that actually this is the year not just to be grateful for everything that we've got, but actually to ask for help, because I think a lot of people want to help. They don't necessarily know how to, or they don't know if it will be well received. So if people say, look, this is what we need, this is what we'd like to have, then I think people will give things. And that's exactly what Travel Kind Connect is about, isn't it? It's about people in different countries saying, if you're coming here, this is what we need from you, and people going, brilliant, and matching those people up, which is fantastic. Going back to Beyond Bamboo, obviously you work on the B2B side of things, so you're working with the business. It's all about going beyond sustainability for business, and sourcing products and it's materials and supplies for hotel chains and other businesses as well. I know that Beyond Bamboo is working with schools and things as well. What makes Beyond Bamboo different from the competition in terms of sourcing, etc.?
Well, we look at the bigger picture. So for us, it's not just about coming into your business and going, right, let's just swap that for that. Because that, it's great. That's a start. But we bring a whole sort of circular approach to it all. So it's like, let's look at everything. Let's look at everything that you do. Let's look at your staffing. Let's look at your energy. Let's look at your waste. Let's look at how you work as a business to help you be sustainable in more than just one area. And, we know, just as important as it is, that collaboration is key. And so we bring in experts in various fields. We'll, collaborate with them, because we know that working together, we can all make so much more of a difference. And, this is the kind of case where I'd like to say that the term FOMO is a great thing, right? Which is the fear of missing out, is that, if there's one chain or one hotel or one school doing something that's making that difference, it's like, well, if they can do it, we can do it, and there's that whole mentality with us humans, isn't there? Well, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And so if we can start that wave of change, we know that that's going to make a huge difference. So I would say where we're different is there's so much more that we bring to the plate. It's a full circular approach, and we bring all the expertise from around the world into it as well. So that's how we're different.
Amazing. And I know there's the option for consultancy and accreditation as well. So it's not just a case of a hotel chain or a business getting in touch and saying, we want to change this one thing, but it's a case of a lot of hand holding in terms of let us help yourselves, which is really amazing. And what's needed, because obviously there's big changes happening in the tourism industry at the moment anyway, and that is definitely moving towards a greener space. And so I think a lot of chains and a lot of businesses are going to be worried about how they drive that out. And so to have a company that are going to say, here you go, we're not just going to give you the things that we need, but we're going to come in and help you to implement them and show you the best way to do that, is really amazing. And so on that note, we're talking about tourism. We're in a world where we haven't travelled for a couple of years, very much because of everything that's going on in the world. But it's a great time to shake up the industry, right? It's a perfect time for us to do that. So thinking about that and looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of tourism, and what do you think needs to change to make that vision happen?
I can see it. I mean, I think people will always travel, and I know that there have been articles and things out there and people saying that, people will reduce their travel and, all of that. But I think people love to travel. As I said, it's such an amazing experience. So I think that will continue to grow, and it's needed at the moment for the industry. Of course, we've had 2 years of a lot of the hospitality, tourism and travel industry really feeling the brunt of the pandemic. But what I sort of envision is that it will become the norm to stay in an eco resort, and it won't be called an eco resort. It will just be a resort, right? At the moment, we look for sustainable hotels, but you won't be looking for sustainable hotels because all hotels will be sustainable. And that would be the ideal, is that when we're traveling on a flight that's using renewable fuel. We're going to stay in places that are sustainable and eco and ethical without us having to even search for those terms. So rather than it being a small market, which it is at the moment, it will become, the norm. It will be like, well, that's it. We just know that we're traveling economically, we're traveling to ethical places, we're traveling to places sustainable. And there was actually a report to say there was supposedly a flight within the US that was done using renewable fuel. So I know we've talked about, that when we get planes, to be as sustainable as they can be, then travel will be great. But it doesn't have to be to wait for that to happen. I think that it will happen. It would just maybe take a little longer. But I think in the meantime, we can't just sit around going, oh yeah, there's no electrical planes, so I'm not going to travel. Well, there's renewable fuel. So it's finding the balance that works at the moment, and how can we sort of utilize that as travelers. So
amazing. And I can see that really escalating quickly, in terms of, you can see it happening already when you're looking at, you know, certain hotels or even flights. If you go on to some of the sites where you can look at multiple flights, I won't name any names, but there is the option for eco flights, and you're right, it shouldn't be that you have to tick the option for eco flights. All of the flights should be eco. In fact, actually, you should have to know if they're not doing it the other way around. So I'm really looking forward to seeing when the tourism industry flips that over, and that actually you've got to declare if you're not doing something that's bettering the planet. So yeah, great vision, and actually I can really see that coming into fruition really soon. So that's really exciting. Thanks so much, Ulpa, for chatting to me today. It's exciting to think about what's coming in and what's possible for the industry. And obviously we'll share the links for Travel Kind Connect, and also for Beyond Bamboo B2B for anybody who wants to explore it anymore. But it's been really wonderful talking to you today.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.